Welcome into Locked On Phillies. In today's episode, the Phils finally on their losing streak. They take 2 of 3 from the Chicago Cubs and a couple of strong starting pitching performances to talk about. We'll also preview their upcoming series starting tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So much to get into on today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm Connor Thomas, your host. You've been hearing me talk Phillies baseball for years on radio, 97.5 The Fanatic. You can hear me on the television, NBC Sports Philadelphia, I guess here, NC. And, of course, you can hear me and see me here as your host of Locked On Phillies. Thank you so much for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we're free and available wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, all that good stuff. Make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube if you have not done that yet. I appreciate all of that. So thank you so much for checking us out on a new episode of Locked On Phillies. The Phils, we're not going to really get too far into Friday night's game, okay? They played the Cubs on Friday night and lost 10-1. It was not a good situation. They got just 8 runs hung on them in the first 5 innings. That's bad. They scored in the bottom of the first to take a 1-0 lead, the Phillies did, and then just completely fell apart. So I don't feel good about that performance whatsoever. And Ranger Suarez only going 2 innings puts you in a really, really rough spot. Whenever Cody Clemens pitches in a game, that's bad news for the Philadelphia Phillies. And he pitched again in this one. So not exactly an ideal performance by the Philadelphia Phillies. But the good news is they made up for it. So after losing 10-1 to the Cubs in the first game of the homestand, then the Philadelphia Phillies faced them on Saturday. And Aaron Nola cruised. He looked absolutely incredible in this one. His final pitching line for the start was 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. That's an Aaron Nola-esque performance, okay? That's what you pay the guy for right now. Probably why you won't pay him this offseason is because all the stuff in between those starts, why you pay him. But he was great in this one. He's got the ERA down to 4.31. Seems like it's dropping every time he takes the mound. Exceptional. If you can get 7 innings out of your starting pitcher, the Phillies should win most of those games. So if you can continue to get good starts, that'll certainly help out. The offense also exploded. I mean, they won 12-3, and it started in the bottom of the first with the Phillies loading the bases and Kyle Schwarber coming to the plate. Had a nice at-bat put together. He had hit, let me enunciate that better, a 400-foot foul ball earlier on in the at-bat. So you could tell that he was kind of on it. It reminded me of that at-bat against Yu Darvish in the World Baseball Classic, if you remember watching that, where Schwarber would just they were playing down at the Marlins Park in the final, and Schwarber hit like a foul ball like 300 feet, and then a foul ball like 350, and a foul ball like 350, and he was just barreling a bunch of stuff, and then eventually he squared one up and hit it a million miles to right field for a home run. That's kind of what this felt like. He was clearly zoned in when he hit that ball 400 feet foul, and he followed that up a couple swings later with a 435-foot grand slam to right field, went into the upper decks. Absolutely incredible. Broke the game wide open from the start. Then Cody Clemens follows it up with a 2-run home run a little bit later on in the inning. It was 6-0 Phillies right off the bat in the bottom of the first. Bottom of the third, Edmundo Sosa has an infield single that scores Kyle Schwarber. With the bases loaded, he was able to go ahead and get that done. 7-0. Bryson Stott sacrifice fly in the third. 8-0. Then in the fifth, Bryson Stott grounded out to second, but it scored Cody Clemens. 9-0. Bryson Harper. Combine Bryson Stott and Bryce Harper. That'd probably be a pretty good baseball player. Bryce Harper had an RBI double to right field, scoring Edmundo Sosa. 10-0 Phillies in the fifth. Now, Dansby Swanson hit a home run in the sixth. That was one of the runs that Aaron Nola gave up on the day. The other one, it was a 2-run home run. I apologize. He hit that 2-run home run to left center. I forgot there was a guy on base for that one. So it's 10-2. But then Josh Harrison, who was entered into the game late because the Phillies were up so much, hit a sacrifice fly to score Edmundo Sosa, 11-2. The Cubs would get one back with a homer in the 8th inning. And then the Phillies would get another in the bottom of the 8th with a little bit of a wild pitch there on a walk to Dalton Guthrie that scored Garrett Stubbs. 12-3 Phillies. Good, comfortable win. That was kind of one of those breakout wins. And you felt good after that when you say, okay, Finally got off the schneid, hit with some runners in scoring position, put up 12 runs. It'd be nice if you could spread those out and go like 6-6 in multiple games rather than just like 1 run one day and 12 runs the next day. But whatever, we'll take it. And it definitely felt like a sigh of relief for the Philadelphia Phillies. Like one of those, yeah, we're not playing well. We just need to win one. When we do, we'll feel good again. We'll get into a rhythm, all that good stuff. And that is certainly what happened heading into the game yesterday, Sunday's game. So we'll talk about that one coming up here in a second. But yeah, Aaron Nola has been getting better. The bullpen looks solid. And that when the offense broke through, it's what we saw on Saturday is what this team could be. We saw them put together a complete baseball game. The starting pitching was good. The bullpen was good. The offense was great. You hit with runners in scoring position. You hit big home runs. I mean, as well as the Phillies can play, that's how well they played on Saturday. And I still think they have some room on top of where they're playing right now in these past 2 wins to get even better. And the Cubs are not a terrible team. Like that's a solid middle of the pack organization that you took care of business in 2 games, the latter 2 games of the series against them. So I think the Phillies are trending in the right direction. It's just annoying how inconsistent they've been to this point, but maybe this is the breakthrough we've been waiting for. They've won 2 in a row. That win with the 12 runs was great. Another beautiful win. Not as much offense in this next one we're going to talk about, but another tough one yesterday that resulted in a Phillies win thanks to some heroics that we'll talk about coming up. I just feel like this team is once they won that one after another losing streak that they were on a 5-game losing streak? Yeah, 5-game losing streak that they snapped. I think that was okay. We broke through. Let's focus up. We got divisional games coming up later on in the week. Let's take care of business against the Chicago Cubs so that we can roll in a little bit warm to the division. Arizona Diamondbacks are in town tonight. That's not an easy series, and game 1 is at 6:40 p.m. tonight. We're also going to talk about this one later on in the episode. You can hear every pitch of the Phillies' hometown radio broadcast of that game, the 6:40 p.m. start on the Sirius XM app. Just go to the SXM app and search Phillies. But yeah, they bring some momentum riding into this, and it's not just because of that 12-run performance on Saturday. It's because this win we're going to talk about coming up here in just a second for the Sunday game, and we'll get into that as we continue today's episode of Locked On Phillies. First, though, I got to tell you about eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage, the My Garage tab, and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices, super important there as well, on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. All right, let's talk about game 3 of the Chicago Cubs series. Now, the way this has gone so far, the Phillies have lost 10-1, and then they won 12-3. So naturally, the final game is going to be a pitcher's duel, 2-1 victory for your Philadelphia Phillies. And it was a bit of a grind. I mean, they were scoreless to the 7th inning. The bottom of the 7th. They were scoreless through, what is that, 6.5 innings? Yes, six and a half innings. The score was 0-0. And let's talk about the reason for that. First of all, for the Chicago Cubs, they got a nice start from a guy in Justin Steele that's been pretty darn good for them this year. He's 6-1 with a 2.20 ERA. His one loss, of course, did not come. Was he saddled with the loss? No, he was not. The loss went to Alzole out of the Cubs bullpen. So the one loss did not come against the Phillies. He's had a good year so far, has Steele. But Taijuan Walker was just about as good in this one as well. I talked about how I thought that Taijuan Walker is still a good pitcher. He's just not pitching well right now, which seems counterintuitive. But he went 5 1/3 innings pitched, only allowed 2 hits, no earned, 3 walks, 3 Ks. 3 walks are troubling, and that was a little bit it got a little sketchy there in the middle of the game because of those. But you can't argue with the 2 hits, no earned in 5+ innings pitched. Here's my thing with Taijuan Walker, right? I look at the guy and I say, he's still throwing with good movement. He's still throwing with good velocity. His command is not there. He doesn't have a feel right now. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe it's an adjustment to the new organization thing. I don't know exactly what all those factors contribute. I don't know what contributes the most to his recent struggles, but here's what I know. He had a 3.8 something ERA in the NL East last year with the New York Mets. So it's a super tough division. You had 3 playoff teams come out. One that went to the World Series, one that was the defending World Series champion. It wasn't exactly an easy division to pitch in last year. The offense was certainly a factor when you look at how pitchers who are in this division stats looked. And I say all that to say Taijuan Walker had a great year last year, even with that being what he was up against. So I know he's still a talented pitcher. And you could see flashes every once in a while. Like when you have that 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned type of performance, you say, okay, guy's a good pitcher. He's just not pitching good right now. And that doesn't help the Phillies to say that. It's just my point is do not give up on Taijuan Walker. I've heard a lot of people say Taijuan Walker stinks. He doesn't. I promise you, he doesn't. There will be a point this year where he looks like a pretty darn good pitcher. He won't look like Nola or Wheeler or maybe even Ranger Suarez when Suarez gets worked out. But as a 4, there will be points where we're like, okay, happy to have Taijuan Walker here. He's just been super inconsistent to start. And the most consistent thing about his game is bad starts. So that's, I think he's still considered a coin flip, which is better than Bailey Falter, who is losing every game he went out there and pitched. But Walker needs to continue to string this together. Maybe this is a breakthrough for him as well. But I'm just saying, do not give up on Taijuan Walker if you're a Phillies fan. First of all, they need him, and they don't have many other good options right now. Sorry, I said they don't have many other good options. They don't have any other good options right now. But also, like, I don't want to see this city turn on him early. I don't know how he'll deal with that mentally. Like, not that I need to protect Taijuan Walker, but the point is, he's not this guy that just got called up that's never done this before. He's having a rough stretch right now. I understand people being upset with him. He has not pitched well for the Philadelphia Phillies this year, but he's shown flashes of being able to. We know his track record says he can be able to. So give him a little bit more time. I know that's a tall task. It's a lot to ask from a fan base when the Phillies are still under 500, but trust me, it'll pay off in the long run with Taijuan Walker. But the offense in this one, non-existent really for the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, Trey Turner was 1 for 4. Nick Castellanos was 2 for 4. Alec Boehm was 1 for 4. Edmundo Sosa was 1 for 3. Dalton Guthrie was 1 for 3. That was the total amount of hits that you had from your starting lineup. There's 1 hit unaccounted for, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6-hit performance for the Philadelphia Phillies, which is not ideal considering the lineup. Well, it was 7 hits. And in the bottom of the 7th, with the score at 0-0 and a runner on, Bryson Stott was entered in the game to pinch hit for Josh Harrison, who had the start, considering that you had the lefty on the mound starting for the Chicago Cubs. And Stott, all he did was hit another clutch home run like we've seen him do multiple times in his young career, 357 feet to right field. Scores both him and Edmundo Sosa, who was the guy on base. 2-0 Phillies, and you're like, okay, breathing room, huge home run. That's great. Handed over to the bullpen. So in the 8th, the Phillies go to the bullpen and they go ahead and they get Connor Brogdon to go out there and get 2/3, and then Gregory Soto comes in to just get 1/3, 1 out, I should say. And they go ahead and combine for a perfect inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Whatever. And you get everything all squared away there and get it to the 9th. Phillies wouldn't score the rest of the game. And in the top of the 9th, Craig Kimbrell goes for save number 399 in his career. And, of course, he goes ahead and he gives up a home run right out of the bat. And I just got to say, all right, I don't know what the Chicago Cubs are feeding Christopher Morel, but that guy just hits home runs at will. He's got 8 home runs on the year, and I'm pretty sure he hit like 17 in the series. No, he's hit 8, I think, in his last 10 games. It's absolutely crazy how well that guy's swinging it right now. He's had 2 home runs in the series against the Philadelphia Phillies, or at least 2 in the last 2 games. I forget if he homered on Friday or not, but he had a solo shot off Kimbrell in the 9th. You're like, okay, it's getting a little tight, but I believe, and let me just confirm this real quick, as if memory serves, and it rarely does, I believe that homer was with 2 outs. It might have been with 1. No, yeah. It was with 2 outs already. So you felt kind of good about, okay, 2 outs, solo shot, whatever, just go get one more out. Now, Kimbrel did walk Trey Mancini after that, but then he got the strikeout on Patrick Wisdom, who fouled out to the catcher, to JT Romito, and everything was all good to go there. So a nice win for the Philadelphia Phillies in a different way than they won the day before. Taijuan Walker's start, the most encouraging thing. Bryson Stott plays hero with the 2-run home run late, and the pitching was shut down for the Philadelphia Phillies. Craig Kimbrel, 399th career save, one away from 400. Maybe he'll get a chance to get that tonight when the Phillies take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Again, 6:40 p.m. first pitch against the Arizona Diamondbacks, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to the Sirius XM app and you can hear every pitch of the Phillies hometown radio broadcast. Just go to the SXM app and search Phillies, and you'll be able to hear tonight's game. An interesting one. The Diamondbacks playing good baseball right now. The Phillies on a small 2-game win streak. We'll talk about that series and specifically tonight's game coming up as we wrap up Locked On Phillies and get into more of how the Phils can continue this winning streak. All right, first though, I want to tell you about my friends over at So Rare, one of our newest sponsors. So Rare is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace, transforms fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Be a good week to have Christopher Morel on your So Rare team there. He went off against the Philadelphia Phillies. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. And win or lose, you still own your cards. There's no cost to play. So what are you waiting for? I have no idea. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance collecting increasingly powerful cards and accessing next level competitions and rewards. Just listen to some of these. So the rewards that you could be eligible for through So Rare. MLB managers who rank at or near the top of their leaderboards win a variety of rewards, which can include So Rare scarcity cards. You can make your team better, so you have a chance to win more rewards in the future. Game tickets, not game tickets for like that week for So Rare. No, game tickets to MLB games. Merchandise, signed jerseys, VIP experiences like meeting MLB stars. It's awesome. And plus, MLB game weeks happen twice weekly on So Rare and span a 3 to 4 day cycle. So you can win multiple times a week. Go ahead and check that out and head to sorare.com/locked on. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/locked on to start playing today. All right, let's discuss tonight's matchup with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Again, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, first pitch. You can hear every pitch of the Phillies hometown radio broadcast on the Sirius XM app. Just go to the SXM app and search Phillies, and you'll be able to pull that up. And it's a pretty darn good-looking matchup for the Philadelphia Phillies. So right now, the ESPN analytics have the Phillies as a 66.2% chance to win tonight, giving the Diamondbacks, who are 27-20, way better than the Philadelphia Phillies record-wise, only a 33.8% chance to win. Why, you might ask, is that a thing? Well, because of the pitching matchup. So Tommy Henry is going for the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. And so far for this season, he's got 27 innings pitched, but he only has a career innings pitched of 74. Young guy. He's been okay. He's 1-1 with a 5 ERA, 13 Ks, a 1.48 WHIP. I mean, those numbers are respectable, but he's facing off against Zach Wheeler, who's starting to figure it out, just like Aaron Nola, just like hopefully Taijuan Walker. Wheeler's 3-3 on the year, but with a 4.06 ERA, a 1.2 WHIP, in 51 innings pitched. He's got 61 strikeouts. Henry has 13. Wheeler is allowed just about the same number of walks in almost double the innings. Like, Wheeler's the clearly better hitter, and he's also given up 2 less home runs in 51 innings than Henry has in 27 innings. Yeah, all of that points to the pitching matchup is a huge mismatch. And Arizona has a solid team, solid lineup. They have the AL Cy Young if the season ended today and Zach Gallen. Like, that's a good baseball team. You're going to have to work to compete in this series with them. But the good news is you're looking at a situation tonight where the pitching matchup seems to be largely in your favor. Just to look at the leaders for the teams, Kyle Schwarber still leads the Phillies. He keeps tacking on home runs. He's got 11. Then you're looking at Christian Walker leading in home runs for the Arizona Diamondbacks with 11 as well. Gurriel Jr., 304 for the Diamondbacks. Castellanos batting 303 for the Phillies, so comparable in the average, tied in the home runs. RBIs, Bohm has 32, Christian Walker has 34. I mean, these are evenly matched offensive teams, which is crazy considering some of the names that are on the Arizona Diamondbacks when you compare those names to what the Phillies are trotting out there. I mean, Ketel Marte, strong player. Christian Walker, strong player. But they don't really have too many big name guys, and they don't really have any stars over there anymore in the lineup. Zach Gallen absolutely is a budding star in Major League Baseball, but you don't look at this lineup as one that the Phillies can't compete with. And maybe it's an opportunity for the Philadelphia Phillies to work some stuff out pitching wise. I mean, the team average for the Arizona Diamondbacks, let me go ahead and pull up their team stats if I can get it here. They only have a couple guys batting over 300, though. I mean, Moreno's batting over 300, Gurriel's batting 304, and Moreno's doing that in significantly less at bats. I mean, most of the guys are right around 260, 250. Solid lineup, but not anything the Phillies have to be overly worried about. It's a winnable series. You got 3 games. You see Zach Gallen in the final game of this one, so you want to win the first 2, unlike what you did against the Cubs, where I said, okay, first one might be tough with Stroman, but then go win the next 2. Well, now win the first 2 so you don't have to worry about a win against Zach Gallen. He's nearly unbeatable right now. But an opportunity tonight against the Diamondbacks to keep everything going. You want Wheeler to be consistently good, so another good start would start to breed consistency. And this rotation does feel like it has, with Ranger Suarez notwithstanding, he's still working stuff out. But the guys that have been stretched out already, I'm mainly talking about Nola, Wheeler, and Walker, they're starting to feel like they have a little bit of momentum building. We'll see tonight if Wheeler can keep that going. But yeah, good opportunity for the Phils to win tonight. ESPN agrees the Phils are favorited. So go ahead and tune into that. And hopefully we'll be talking about another Phillies win tomorrow. But that's all for today's Locked On Phillies. Thank you again for checking out Locked On Phillies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for following along. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe on the YouTube. Appreciate that. And I'll talk to you next time on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.